Welcome back to Factorio Space Exploration. My name is Nilaus, and I know this series has been on a little bit of a hiatus here on YouTube, but it is progressing on Twitch, and I encourage you to come by on Twitch on Sunday evenings at 8 p.m. Central European Time at twitch.tv/Nilaus, and then you can be part of the progress of the space. So today we're going to explain why it has been a little bit on a hiatus, because this is the state that we left off at the last time. We got the energy science, we got the astronomic science, it's all good. And then sort of the next natural part is that we want to go find some science. There are lots of science, and the next natural one is looking at material science. So let's look at material science. It needs some radium plate. That's something we need to go on our planet and find that, and then it needs like another series of random stuff here that we need to do. And as I was looking at it, I was like planning it in here, and I was thinking, okay, I can just build it like here, and then I have some space in the bus, and ultimately the bus is getting longer and longer and longer, and it moving from one end to the other, that kind of needs trains. So I was thinking like maybe we can make trains in here, like space trains. That would be cool if we could make space trains out here, but then like I'd want a stop that has like for each of the science that has a stop, and then I'd have to cut across, and you know, there's always something about like good old city blocks would be so much more convenient to place up here and to place, and then the idea started developing that this bus is not good, because it's going to stretch out too long, it's going to be too wide, and it's just going to be really cumbersome to move around. But there is always, of course, a solution to all our problems, and that solution is, of course, surprise, surprise, city blocks in space, called space blocks. So that's what we're going to do, and the way we're going to do it is, oh, I need to get out of that mode. We're simply going to take this blueprint and then basically figure out where it's going to be, and this seems like a good place because I can push it away from this location and just take out this part and make some here. Let's start making a little block up here of city blocks with space trains, because we have space trains, that's called rail there, space railroads, holmium cable, we got that, rails, we got it, steel, we got it, and energy catalog, we got that as well. So we can make the space rails. It's not a problem to make it. We make it, we store it, it's always almost there. And then we can make the first city blocks. So this is what the space blocks are going to look like, and because the trains can, or the railways here, space rails, can work without being supported by the scaffolding, then I've decided that they are going to be out there without. It's a little annoying when moving from one block to the next, but yeah, it looks good that they're sort of deconstructed from the actual the space blocks where we're going to work. So this is a good start. It works exactly like the ground-based one, and now next part is, what are we gonna do? Well, the first thing we want to do is we want to transfer all of these locations into some new launch locations, and that's gonna be a little bit of a pain, because I need to define a new one, and then I'm gonna take it out, and then I need to transfer. Some of these have like extreme amounts here, 84,000. That needs to be transferred from here into another location, and then I need to make sure that they don't accidentally launch extra stuff to the other ones. But let's get started on the design of what it should look like. So now I've built a new block, and I'm pretty proud of it. I think it works really well. There are 12 locations here. I have dedicated 11 of them. One of them, well, I don't know what's going to be there yet, but this is just stuff that we want to move over here. And the way I've done it is that sometimes a rocket will miss, and when it misses, it's going to be picked up by construction bots, and then I want to make sure that it can go into somewhere and go back into the landing pad. Now, all of these landing pads, that's why I have these here, and in the corners I have equivalent here. So that's when a rocket launches misses, or it's also for our transfer now, because we have added 5,000 construction robots, and we have to transfer these with construction robots, not with logistics robots, because logistics robots explode, but construction robots do not. So we have to move this, and now comes the big challenge: is we need to move it. So we can then go back here to the original locations and say, well, what did we get? We get this one. So if I just delete this doesn't have a lot. It only has like 5,000, so it should be picked up easily. You can see here it comes the robot worm and even more. And these are all construction bots that are busy. If we look at our construction bots, that is 1,000 of them are busy, and they're going to come into that, to this location. You can see 2,500. 2.5 are inbound, and there should be more. Okay, you can see they failed. And we just go back and forth, and they just start, oops, where are they going? Oh, they're going down there for recharging. Okay, well, we will gradually, eventually, see things coming in here, and they will fill up here. It's very important. Two things are very important. When you delete these, it's probably a good idea to, let's see, can I do this? These ones should all have no name. So from now on, I don't want to launch anything, because what can happen is if I empty these, then as soon as I empty them, it triggers the automatic rocket network and then send some new ones. So we do want to deconstruct, but even then you can also go back and just fill up your inventory and move back and forth. That's also a lot easier for some of the bigger things. Especially you can see here now we're getting into a position where this is about as high a throughput as we can have, because there's simply not enough charging positions available. How much do we actually? We only have like that. So I could also take that one out, and that should hopefully enable some more. There we go, more coming in. And the reason why, let's go out of this here. Yeah, this is just getting in here with whatever it can, and then it's going to fill up and here. And I think that everything is already scheduled for pickup. That's why they're just charging. And as you can see here, there's lots and lots of issues with the charging power. And well, that's just something we need to move things along. But after we've done this, we'd like to get like one of them completed. That would be, let's get a few of them completed, and then we can assess the situation. Now we're just getting the last of the stuff in here, but you can see most of these boxes are filling up or are filled up already, and that means we are ready for the next stage of this this setup here. So now we also have the issue that our bus is going to be starved, and because yeah, and that will cause all sorts of weird things that I haven't anticipated. It'll probably kill the cooling fluids, it'll kill all sorts of things. It shouldn't be a problem almost, because I'm not really using science, but it could be a problem when it comes to stuff like, you know, maybe I run out of these things. That would be less than ideal. And so that's just something we have to deal with at some point. Right, so right now we have removed from here just a few of them, just the last bits remaining. I am leaving the liquids as a separate one. 1, 2, and 3, 4 liquids I have available right now. We'll maybe get more later on, but that's what we have. So right now we have the most important ones here. These are the 3 that will be used for the first part, which is more scaffolding. So that's the first block we want to make. We want to make a first block of scaffolding, but we also want to make sure that these can now be set up. So I need to find a block that actually works. This one still works. No. Oh, right. Yeah, so I have to, now that I've removed these, they also don't exist in the other locations. What that means is that if there is only one receiver for blue, then since that's gone, then the one that was sending to the blue is also now missing a destination. So we'll need to restore this afterwards. I can, I think, just set it to something like this for now, because all I need to do is copy that part of it and then absolutely make sure that we send it to something else. What was it, the other one called? Now it's landing pad. I don't think that's the great name for it, but whatever. I think it should be called the default landing pad. There. And then I can go into here, and then we can set up the names back again, and then they get it re-established more or less. This one is here. There we go. So this exists, but the place that was actually sending to it, that was oh, no. That's here. So somewhere on this planet we have something that sends to that location. I'm just gonna find it. Here it is. This is where I am sending it up to orbit, and as you can see, oh, what? It still works, huh? That's interesting. So it kind of remembers. So if we recreate the same name, then it'll be restored. Oh, so it's like trains, I guess. That's pretty cool. Well, that makes it even better. So we can now also go in here and make this into material science. That's here. And then that should also re-enable the material science. I can re-enable all of these so that now what I've done is I have moved from this location up here. We're going to need 3 of these. And we're also going to need to continue on this expansion out here. But from now on, the next part we want to do is we want to make a block. Let's just make it right here, the scaffolding block, so we get the first trains operational. So we now have our city block, and we're going to use this 2 unloading station and use that as our design parameter. I'm going to take out the one of them because I only need 3 inputs, and then I need to make it available for logistics network and here. And there, and that will mean, okay, you're gonna go in there, and then I will just need to make some kind of design here, and that will be, take a little bit of this, don't know how much, and I will be making 4 outbounds, and then we need to get the there. It's right hand side in the direction of travel. That's how we, when you think about what side that they put them out on, then the answer is right hand side in the direction of travel. So that one will put out on this side here, which means they will merge correctly into that location. And this is just a normal balancer. Nothing special about that. And that will then be the design, and I think I will make it, I think I want to have a little icon here. The trains up here in orbit will be 1-1 trains, so they'll be a little bit different from the other trains, but I think that'll be fine. So that needs to be built. This part. We can always just take out whatever was not needed here. Oh. And it works. Take out the remainder. If you want to be really careful about it. And the same up here. Yeah. And take out. There. Alright, so now we have the 3 inputs. Then we need to build something in the middle. And I'm thinking something like this. And how much space do we need between these? I think we need enough space to have a big box like that in here. That'll be the premise, and that will be for scaffolding. Then we obviously also need a beacon. Let's just jam it as close as possible. Fill it up with goodies. And that should leave a good space for us to make signs here. And then we'll get 1 inbound from this side. It is going to be fast, but it's not going to be so fast that this will be a problem with keeping up. Like, that's all fine. And this, I don't know if this is accurate in the middle. It doesn't really matter, I think. Here. That's 1. And then we get another one coming in from this side. There. That's coming in here. And, okay, well that kind of settles it. It just needs to go 1 further down. Yep. There we go. And I also need this. Yeah. And this. There we go. And the last one will then be a little bit less ideal. But you can still get it. Oops, yeah. They're so short, these lanes. And let's build another one here. Also, this one shouldn't be here. We'll use the other design for this. There we go, much easier. in. Good. And then all we need to do is designate the train stations and then set them up. Now a note before we start up making train stations here, or trains at all, because there is something later on called space elevators, and we don't have that yet, obviously, and we would like to get it eventually, but I don't want to plan for it because it's so far in the future that it may be like 50 hours, maybe I'll never get there, and therefore it's a little bit. That's really weird. What is that one doing? Wait, okay. This is deconstructed. Okay, so that's still moving. All right. So what I'm doing here for the train stations, eventually you will be able to connect trains between the different layers with the space elevator. Not space trains. I mean space elevator. Then I don't want them to automatically connect between Nilaus and Nilaus orbit through the space elevator, because if I do that, then they're not the same size. So I put a prefix here so that they don't accidentally get messed up when I ever get the space elevator. But then I'd have to sort of go to each one of these and convert them into a new kind of station in order for that to work. So that's why I'm doing it exactly like that. There is actually a little bit of intention to it. In this location, I have these three, and then I need to make the trains. So make 3 trains, and oh right, of course, psh, silly me. Who would want to have the locomotive in front of the train, in front of the wagon? That would be silly. That is silly. Yeah. And do we have any? That one. And you will be going from this location until full to this location until empty. Go. You will go from this location until full to the heat shielding until empty. And the last one is steel. Go from the steel loading to the steel unloading. There we go. Are they working? Maybe they are. We'll just hitch a ride on the first train as it leaves in. So the next part is, how much do I request at these stations? Well, I take the request I have in on Nilaus, and then I just divide them by 2. Look at that beautiful pathing here. So this one will actually only request 2.5, which is a little more than 1 train. So it'll always have 1 train stuck here, or not stuck, but 1 train load available. And when it drops below, then it can get the next one in. And we're also getting from here. Let's see that one work. Oh, we also need to make sure that we get this one in. It's not really necessary to have that much. And you are here. Good. And we just need the steel. Well, the steel takes longer to load. Do I have any space? Then why the hell are we not? Oh, right, because all the construction bots are dedicated here. Okay. So we now have the trains coming in, and we have only one thing that is missing, and that's actually setting up the recipe here. So we'll set up the recipe and get started on working on these. And of course, we'll just smash in some more modules, because why not? Why not indeed? They'll be silly fast. Let's see how fast they will actually produce. They will only contain 10 per second. That's not actually very much, but they will also be making 10 scaffolding per second. So 10 scaffolding per second should easily get us started on what we want. We will just see an awful lot of robots now coming out here. Let's see, we have got all 5,000 available. All 5,000 are being sent out, and they'll be starting working on this, which means at this point we can also just start being super greedy and just start expanding even more. What we need to do now is make additional one of these launching loading landing pads, yes, so that we can remove the rest of it, and then we'll only have the liquids left, and then the liquids will be in another one. So I'm thinking to put it here and here, and then we'll just do the liquids as well, just to get a little bit of sense of what it'll be like. But now we have automatic launching to this location, and we have now the first little train setup, which goes into a dedicated city block. And yes, it is an incredible waste of space, but luckily space is something we have a lot of out here in space. So I don't care, and I don't care that we use a lot of scaffolding. We have a lot of resources on Nilaus, and if we don't, then we'll just get some more. And so a lot more progress has been made, and well, you can see this this new base is vastly dwarfing the original base, and that's really interesting to see how big this base is. And of course, since we have a nice production here, we keep producing. We can always just keep expanding as well. I have made another one of these blocks that takes all the other things. So now we have 12 items here, and we have another 12 items here. And then we get the remaining 4 items. We'll probably need more, but then I can just put it down here, for example. So that is not a problem. Then this is liquids, and I haven't even hooked it up, but I want to hook it up now just to see. And let's see, how do I do this the best way? Well, this one is already full, so I can actually use anything here. It's a little bit risky. There, and then that will be barrels of lubricant there, and I can then paste that, and that will be barrels of crude oil there, and over here that will be barrels of I want to call it methanol, but it's petroleum, yes, there we go. And the last one is going to be barrels of, and this one should activate immediately, so let's keep our fingers crossed that it actually works. This one is here, light oil, and those are the ones we want. We don't want to import water because we do have a different kind of way to make water. We have this part here, there's water ice. It's only 107,000, but if with our mining productivity and with each one becoming 100 water, I think it'll be lasting us for a while now. This is only like 10,000 water. No, it's not. It's 1 million water, but then also times productivity modules. With productivity, that's 230, so times 3.3. I don't know. It's 3.3, 3.5 million water. It's gonna last for a little while. So that's let's see, is it working? Oh yeah, it worked. It worked. Brilliant. And of course, you always need to have this part here, the provider that gets rid of all the excess stuff so it doesn't go out. What these ones do, they basically just empty on the belt, then they go out here, and then they recycle all of the barrels into steel, and then we put it into a steel box. Now we know we're going to need a lot of steel, so it's probably fine to have another steel box here. And let's get these hooked up, because we don't really, there's no dangerous thing about this anymore. We feel confident that it works, and then we can get these inbounds here. And we have 2 additional liquids if we discover something we want to have brought in. I don't know. I have no idea. We'll just figure it out when we get to it. But there's one more thing that we want to design, and this will sort of be starting on the replacement of all the stuff down here. One of the first thing, no, the very first thing we want to get is, of course, if we want to make science, then we want to make the space science first. And the space science is, this is coming from rocket, this is coming from rocket, this is coming from rocket. So we have those in the train network now. Coming from train network, all of it is good. So actually, the only thing we don't have is the cosmic water. So we need to make the cosmic water, and there are 2 ways of making it. There is from water and lubricant, which will come from fires, and then there is the other one is we'll also have a lot of contaminated toxic waste, and then build it out here. So I need to have some stations inbound. We'll have one with lubricant, we'll have one with methane, no, with fire ice, no, not fire ice, wrong game, water ice, and we'll have one with contaminated sludge, and then build it in here. We'll need to build it with these locations, and I think we'll have like a nice pattern of 3x3 so that we can put a, there we go. That seems like a good place to build this, and that will be cosmic water here, and also a lot of that. And I'll be doing exactly the same thing over on the other side, which will just be, dare we say that would be like the virgin cosmic water? I think that's what you would call it. And those are the 2 things, and then it's just a matter of bringing in the pipes and belts and all that stuff. So here we have the final product, and we've sort of multiplied this contaminated thing. It's probably a little overkill, but the way it works is that I will be prioritizing the contaminated sludge, the purification of the contaminated sludge, because that goes directly in here. But the cosmic water that we make from scratch is only coming in when there's less than 10,000 here. There'll be 10,000 here, and then there'll be 20,000 here. That means when a train comes in, it picks up 20,000. And then it starts pulling in from this location, which will eventually maybe also have another 25,000, and then it'll start production here and start production there until it reaches the equilibrium, and then it'll always just be balanced. I think it works. I guess there will only time will tell when we start making tons of contaminated cosmic water. That's not something we have right now, but it's something we definitely will. Then you can see that I've also highlighted exactly where I want all of these different sciences working, and that means we can then continue to expand out here as we get higher tech science. That means all these blocks over on this side will be for stuff like thermal fluids and card recycling, and you know, all the stuff that hub and all that stuff, which is what we're going to be starting on, the mirrors and, you know, all the stuff that is kind of needed, but plasma things, those will just be on a train and then be brought in to where it's needed. So that's going to be where we continue off with this series. So I hope that you are finding this interesting and this transition. I know that some of you are probably going like, that's nice with a nice structure, and other people like, this guy and his city blocks, man, invent something new. Sorry, this works really, really well. It's a service-oriented architecture, and that works so well, and we can scale up this part if we need it, and we can make another block if we need it, and that's what I really appreciate about this design. And now we have everything sort of hooked up on trains. So if you join on Twitch, twitch.tv/Nilaus, on Sundays at 8 p.m. Central European Time, then you can see us expand out here. And first thing we want to do is, of course, redo all the other stuff and transition, and then we'll get started on the next science, which will be lightning fast by comparison, because we have all the stuff already built in city blocks. Cool. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, hit the like button, consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next episode. Of course, also, if you want to download the save games, those are available to Patreon supporters. So thank you very much to everyone who's supporting on Patreon. Until next time, take care and stay effective.